My very special guest today is Mark Hartman. Mark, for 32 years, has been the principal trombone in the Orchestra of Northern New York. In addition, he's been the professor of trombone at the Crane School of Music and a member of the Potsdam Brass Quintet. I urge you to go to our site, ani.org, and where you'll be able to see his entire bio and see what an amazing career he has had and is still having. And I've felt so fortunate over the years to have him as a member of the orchestra, and so fortunate to have him here to talk with today.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you. I'm just curious, when did you begin trombone? And I'm curious, was that the first instrument you started on?
Well, I began in 5th grade. And it wasn't the first instrument. The first instrument was piano. My mother was a music teacher, general music teacher, and she knew if I ever wanted to go on in music that I should have some piano background. So, and she was a singer, so I had that. And then
how old were you when you started piano?
That's a good question. I'm not sure I remember that one. It was probably about 7, maybe 7 or 8.
Interesting. Yeah.
And so I'd probably had about 3 or 4 years in before I took up an instrument. And that same first year that I took up trombone, I also took up violin, but I don't tell many people about that.
I'll remember that when we're hiring.
It was only 1 year. So, yeah.
That's incredible. Well, as you progressed, did you start just through a school program, or did you start with private lessons? How did that work through junior high and high school?
Well, it was all school program. In fact, trombone wasn't the instrument I wanted to take. I actually wanted to be a French horn player, which is ironic because my son's a French horn player. But we had a trombone in the attic, and that's where I started. And then my folks said, if you want to change after a year, then we would do that. But I didn't.
And where was this that you were taking these lessons? Where were you growing up at the time?
Well, I grew up in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, just
Williamsport,
north of there.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Right.
So I actually I was a sophomore in high school before I had my first private lesson. So.
Fabulous. When did you know that you wanted to pursue a career in music?
That was probably in junior high, even though I wasn't playing very well at the time. I guess with my mom's influence, that was a big part of it. And my folks were both encouraging in that respect. So.